As usual, we're gonna do another review, and it's a little bit cheesy because everyone's doing it, but I just got these two KS Pro Zeros in the post the other day after waiting for more than a month. Everyone does reviews on this, but I had to wait for this about a month, and it just arrived late December, and I think I ordered these two on Black Friday or something like that. So it took a month for them to arrive, and I'm still gonna do a review on them. Thank you for your help and support. Love the comments on my first video, which was obviously very amateur, but the fact that you enjoy watching it motivates me to make some more videos on mining and other interesting topics. Soon I'm planning to make another video on building a mining box or a silencer or a mining shed that's going to sit outside, have filtration, and host a bunch of ASICs. So please leave other requests in your comments of things you want me to shoot and see for you. Alright, without further ado, let's take a look at what we have inside. So, nicely packaged box as always, and we have some foam. Oh, and here's the miner. Okay, it's my first time that I see one of these miners. Oh, guess what? British plug. Well, I'm gonna have to find one of these power cables and the factory brick. Alright, so one thing that we notice immediately is the presence of these holes here. They look like they're made for either a mount or maybe a fan. And then something that's not clearly visible in all the reviews I already watched about this miner is the presence of these two little fans. I guess they're very black and hard to see. Let's try to focus them. But they're very visible here. Another thing that's surprising is how heavy this thing is. It's made of aluminium. Very sturdy but quite heavy. So, alright, we have some labels here. It says high temperature frame. If we can actually try to focus that. Here's the USB port, the lights, and the Ethernet port. Now, one thing that I was thinking of doing, and maybe we'll try it, is mount an ASIC fan here, which has the 4 pins, and see if the miner would actually control that. One from a miner L3 is quieter and also consumes less energy, I believe 2.3 amps. So let's turn this baby on and see what we got. Now, another thing I'm considering is the power jack here seems to be somewhat standard, and I was looking at people powering this with 12 volt server PSU. On the other hand, the power brick that comes with these miners is claimed to be a laptop brick, which is usually about 18 volts. So I'm curious as to what voltage this miner can take. So I don't know if we can see, this brick is actually 19 volts. Interesting. So how on earth are these people powering their miners with a 12 volt server or an ASIC power supply is an interesting question. But one thing we have to check out is the specs of the range this miner will take, because I suspect it can take anywhere from 11 to 20 volts, and the MOSFETs inside it will actually regulate that. So, okay, and finally a serial number here, if we can focus it. Another cool thing about the KS0 Pro that I believe most miners are very much interested in is the fact that this miner is has extremely low power consumption, therefore is not expensive to run. It consumes a little bit more than a light bulb, and also it's very quiet, so you can put it in your office, in your house, in your bedroom, to maybe take advantage of the small heat it exhausts without the fans. Now, I only assume this because I haven't really heard how loud these little fans are, and usually small fans can be noisy. Not too noisy, but they can be noisy somewhat. Alright, so interestingly enough, I happen to have a British to European adapter hanging around my desk for who knows what reason. I did order these on Amazon, the UK Amazon, and then I had a shipping company for them here. So this is why I guess they came with a British plug. Well, you gotta find the power plug. Okay, actually right here. Okay, and the plug looks to be somewhat standard, but I heard people saying not all of them fit. So this has a, come on focus, a larger hole, so not easy to plug in. Maybe you did plug in. Oh, the lights came on. Alright, so let's plug in Ethernet. And that's it. That's all there is. You can see some blue lights coming from the inside. Let's see those fans. They don't seem to be spinning at all because, well, I guess this miner is still booting, but it's also not configured to mine. So first thing we gotta do is figure out its IP address, log into the miner and configure it. We found the IP of the miner by looking at our router and looking the latest lease. That's what I used to, instead of scanning the network, I just look the DHCP most recent lease because the last device that joined the network, and usually that is, you know, the device you just turned on. So that's how I find new devices on my network when I don't know what their IP is. And then it looks like the username is admin and the password is 123456778, I think, because like I said, this is the first time I have laid eyes on this miner. One thing that strikes us immediately is how this whole web interface resembles that of Bitmain's new miners. The menus, and it looks like the navigation and the layout is very similar. So I'm not sure what they're sharing and what they've based this upon, but it looks like a standard Bitmain UI for the most part that Iceriver also uses. So alright, we can play around with these, the password, we can upgrade the firmware, maybe it's worth doing that. So let's see what our firmware is. It actually says KS Pro image 1.06. Well, let's search the web for alright, firmware download. So the Iceriver firmware is 2023 9/9/20. Wow, this one's the latest. How do we figure out what ours is? Well, we can't, so let's just download the latest here. Well, this one's not for the Pro, is it? Where is the 0 Pro? Interesting. It's not even listed on here. I wonder how this is. Well, let's just download this one. Figure out what happens. My guess is that they use same firmware. Listen zip before upgrading. Okay. All right, so let's select a file. And all right, update. Now it can either tell us this is the wrong or firmware, or it can just update itself. I guess it's working, so. All right. Yes. Okay, this is annoying. This operation succeed thing. Let's see if we can fit our screen here. All right, that's much better. So the machine is rebooting now. Hopefully it'll get the same IP address. And wow, I hope I didn't kill it with the non-pro firmware, but it shouldn't let me update it if it's the wrong firmware, so my guess it uses the exact same firmware. To notice is you gotta put your pool and wallet, because by default it starts mining to another wallet, so you're mining for most probably Iceriver. So just for the sake of testing, I've put a nice hash address here just to see how things go. Obviously temps have gone up. Interestingly, this is still showing up normal because I don't think we have 5 minutes yet, so no hash rate, but everything else it's saying normal. And I've heard that you have to give these miners about 10 minutes so you get some sort of hash rate. And okay, right now, okay, I just needed a refresh. I guess it went to 200 gigahertz exactly, and it's showing that actually everything is normal. So that's as easy as it gets to set up one of these. Interestingly, it only has one hash board, very much expected. I would imagine the larger miners here have 3 or even 4 hash boards. The temperatures are going up, which means this thing is mining. However, I don't hear these small fans at all, so hopefully they stay. But let's give this 30 minutes and come back and check the temperatures. Other than that, there's nothing really that you should be changing in here unless you want to set a static IP or something. Change the password, always a good idea, and upgrade the firmware. But for right now, this is as easy as it gets to mine in one of these, and depending on the noise level, we'll find a good home spot to place this miner. Now another thing to notice after about less than 10 minutes of mining is that this aluminium body gets somewhat really warm, and the fans are actually spinning and they're virtually silent. I don't hear anything, but this whole aluminium body is it's pretty warm to touch. It's almost up to the point where you can hold your hand, but not for so long. So it's maybe 60 Celsius or something. I don't know. So that explains why they have this aluminium radiator-like case, and it needs some passive cooling to take away the heat from these fins. So we'll be experimenting with that as well.